Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Mira Wonderwheel. I'm Oregon Tech's annual giving manager, and it's my pleasure to welcome you to the third of our Oregon Tech Together speaker series. This evening, we have the pleasure of talking with alumnus Travis Thomas and athletics director John VanDyke. We're looking forward to an in-depth behind-the-scenes conversation. I do want to let you know that this Zoom is in webinar format, so we will not be requiring you to mute your cameras or turn your videos on or off. And we are recording this session, so if there are any technical difficulties throughout this evening's conversation, then we will be able to send a recording afterwards and share that with you. We have gathered your questions throughout the registration process, and we've incorporated those questions into the conversation that will occur between Travis and John VanDyke. And if you have additional questions throughout the evening, please feel free to write those in the Q&A feature at the bottom of the Zoom screen. We'll also use the poll feature, so when that pops up, feel free to complete the poll at that time. And now, without further ado, I will be introducing our alumnus, Travis Thomas. While at Oregon Tech, Travis was a track star. He still holds records in the track events, in the 200 meters, the 400 meter hurdles, as well as the 1600 meter relay. Travis earned his bachelor's in applied psychology, and that was in 2019. So he is a more recent alum, which is fantastic. And his daughter and his biggest fan, Zanaya, was in the stands when he graduated, and in the stands quite a few times when he was in the track and field team. He works for Lutheran Community Services in Klamath Falls, and he also is an entrepreneur and just recently started his own business as a coach and mentor for youth. Additionally, Travis has joined the Alumni Advisory Board. So thank you so much for being with us this evening, and I will now turn the mic over to you.
Thank you for the great introduction, and thank you for being here. Well, thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm glad to be here. And to start off, I'll be having a conversation with Mr. John VanDyke, and it is my pleasure to actually have this conversation with him this evening. So to begin, John VanDyke joined Oregon Tech as the athletic director in February 2018. Prior to that, he served as the men's basketball head coach at the University of Northwest University in Kirkland, Washington, from 2000 to 2017. And he also served as the assistant athletic director. John won several awards during his coaching career, including the Coach of Character, Men's Basketball Coach of the Year, Team Champion of Character. He also established and directed annual coaching clinics to educate local high school coaches and junior high school coaches. John also has a master's degree in sports science from the United States Sports Academy, teach certificate of physical education in health instrument K-12 from Seattle Pacific University. And he also has a bachelor's of arts of exercise science from Western Washington University. John is a principal academic officer responsible for intercollegiate athletics in the fitness center and recreation and intramural program at OIT. He will be also doing some assistant basketball coaching with the Hustlin' Owls. Welcome, Mr. VanDyke.
All right.
Go ahead. I was going to say, before we get started, I was going to ask to see who is joining us tonight and what is your relationship to OIT? for the polls. And then I know we have parents, I know we have alumni, parents, students, and faculty and community partners on the line tonight. And I want to say thank you. And if you could just click what relationship you have with Oregon Tech. All right, who's here? And then just give us one sweets. All right, so it seems like we have no students here at the moment. We have some alumni, we have some parents, we have mostly faculty. So great to see some people again. So it was great to see everybody, and so we can get started with our first question, John. And actually, I'm curious for this one too. To start off, if you can give us an overview of Oregon Tech's Hustlers Owls athletic program.
Yes, I can. Can you see me all right, Travis?
Yes, I can. And I can hear you
Okay,
perfectly.
just checking. I wasn't sure what was going on. I'm sorry you had to read that long bio.
Oh, it was a great bio.
That was a book. Yeah, well, I'm glad to be here. Thanks for Myra for having me, and I really enjoyed getting to know you the last that time we met, and also enjoyed watching you run back in the day. So that was good. Anyway, I think your question was what is Oregon Tech Athletics and what are we about? So the big broad overview is we have 13 teams, and I'll probably get into those, what we have in a minute, but we're part of what's called the NAIA, as you know, and it's around the country. There's about 250 schools in the NAIA, give or take, and we compete in the Cascade Conference, which is made up of 12 schools. For Travis, we just added Lewis and Clark State this year, so they're new to us, yeah. And we have 8 schools in Oregon, 3 schools in Oregon, 3 in Washington State, and 2 in Idaho. So I'll probably get into this in a little bit, but COVID is different in each place. And so trying to figure out how to have an equitable conference schedule when there isn't anything equitable about COVID has been very, very challenging. But anyway, I think you'd probably agree, Travis. I think of the 250 schools, give or take, in the NAIA, I put Oregon Tech in the top 5% in terms of athletics.
I agree.
I'd say that, one, I know that for how we do on the field or in the gym or in the court, wherever. I know we do really well there, but we also do really well academically, as I know you know. You know, we have about 225 student athletes within our department for all the sports. And of those 225, we have a 3.31 GPA. That's an average. And I'm really proud of that. And I know the coaches are. We recruit smart student athletes. And I also know that we had all 13 teams last year had a 3.0 or better. So,
that's really great.
You know, there isn't basket weaving at Oregon Tech, as you know, and so to have that 3.0 as your minimum is pretty stellar. So, yeah, it's great. Between our facilities, our academics, the production we get on the court and stuff, I can't imagine too many other schools in the NAIA that can top us. So it's special to be here, and I think I don't want to speak for you, but I think the student athletes really appreciate their experience here and what they get as an all-around student athlete, just not on their respective team. Yeah.
I 100% agree.
Yeah, it's bigger than that. So anyway, that's kind of the broad overview of our athletic department.
Yeah, and I know it's biased me saying it, but I also agree that not only OIT, but I think our conference is one of the toughest in the nation, especially when I was at nationals and just racing around different parts of the country. Mostly the people who would place or be more the better athlete typically will come from our conference. So it was pretty great to know that I was in one of the better conferences, especially in the NAIA.
If you're competing at the top of our conference, that means you're guaranteed to be competing at the top nationally, and that's across the board. That's in all sports.
Yep.
So if you can
agree.
do it in our conference, you can do it nationally. So it's good.
That's right. And then thank you for that. And for our actually next question, the part where was my biggest struggle was the academic piece, but Oregon Tech has a great academic program. And the question is, can you give us a recap of how the teams did during the final, the finishing 2018 to 2020 season?
Yeah.
So this past.
Well, I'll give you last school years how they did and what I know. Some of them already have preseason rankings for this upcoming year as well. But for cross country, we had a really good season. We finished both teams, men's and the women's, finished 15th in the country. There we go. So yeah, there it is. Cross country finished 15th at the national tournament.
There we go.
Both men and the women. Ironically, the preseason polls have come out, and I'm going to talk about this later, but they're going to run their national tournament in the spring, but they did the preseason polls already, and we're preseason ranked 16th in the country for both squads. Little known fact, though, is
that's good stuff.
Yeah, it is good. But our coach, Jack Kegg, the freshmen we've recruited, we're going to finish better than that. We have a chance. A couple years ago, our gals won the national championship, and he's not sure that we're not that far off of that group. So the future is very, very bright for our cross team.
That's great to hear. I love that.
Yeah, they're doing good work. I feel sorry for those guys and gals having to run out there in a mask, but it is what it is.
I personally don't know how they do it, especially cross country. I like. How do you? I couldn't even imagine. I have asthma, so just coming up here with the higher elevation was a fun struggle. I wouldn't call it a struggle. I'll say it helped.
Yeah, it helps you in the long run. The right away though, it's not so fun. Let's see what else. Volleyball. We have a new coach this year that has invigorated the program, and there's lots of excitement, and the girls are getting after it. They're seeing a new type of conditioning and they're and I'm going to talk about COVID and what it did to our sports in a second, but it did move our fall sports over to the spring, which has really been a blessing for both soccer and volleyball, because it allows both our new coaches to have more time with the teams prior to them actually having matches or games. So we're good with it, and so we're excited. That I feel very good about our volleyball program climbing in the ranks as in the future. So I'm
excited to see that. Yeah,
it's going to be good. My daughter played college volleyball, and so I'm biased towards volleyball. So I really feel that we can get this program going. Then we have women's soccer.
Perfect.
I'm not sure. We'll go to women's soccer here. Fades in, fades out. Soccer. Both our men and women's soccer team last year had best program years ever. Our gals won the conference and made the national tournament, first time in school history. And then our guys had the best win-loss record that they've ever had in a season last year. We transitioned with our coach, so we have a new coach. He's very experienced. He's doing good. Both the teams like him a lot. And so once again, I expect us to be competing towards the top of our conference in soccer.
Sweet, that works.
Yeah, no,
we got a new coach.
Yeah. So he's good, in teams. Both teams like him, and he's coaching both right now. So then we have one sport, golf. I think the golfers might be coming up next. Yeah, golf championships are in the spring, but they also compete in the fall. So they compete in the fall, then take a break into the spring. And so they like all of our spring sports last year, they never really got started. And it was bummer. We also have a new coach for golf too. So a lot of new faces. Our old coach retired, and so the assistant Justin Wiles took over as the head coach. So,
okay, sweet.
Yeah, so he's good. They had the preseason poll already for golf, and Oregon Tech is #1 in the rankings for our conference in both the men and the women. So having the opportunity to practice out at the Running Y and to use those facilities is a really great opportunity for that team to better. It'd be like, practicing at a state-of-the-art facility every day, and so that's been very advantageous for our teams.
It definitely makes a difference, and
Yeah.
I personally knew some of the golfers off of the golf team while I was there, so I'm happy whenever I hear they win championships or on the top. I'm like, sounds great.
Yeah, no, they're good. They're working hard, and they're good people too, as all of our student athletes are. So let's see. Let's go to winter sports. Let's talk about the Ladies Owl basketball team. There they are. They were really young last year. They finished the conference at 13-7 and 19-12, and they were really pretty young. So I expect good things from them this year too. They're dialed in with moving up the ladder. They have a transfer in that's going to help them from another school, a D2 school that'll help them. And so, some of their key players have improved. I know that their offseason conditioning has gone up, and they're basically what they've done over the offseason. And then with COVID, you can't really do much. So I think they're coming in better shape because they had all that time to get into better shape. So, yeah, which I would say. Actually go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say that was actually the next question, as far as how does the athletes actually come into the season, or how are they getting ready to come into the season prepared?
Well, when you shut down in the spring like that, they went home, and so they could sit on the couch and eat Doritos, or they could get working out. And there was a few Dorito people that came in, and they're paying the price now. But overall, our teams are stronger for sure than what they were when they left. Both with their cardio and both with their strength.
That's great.
Can't really go to a gym, you can still do your push-ups and sit-ups, and you can still get out and run and things like that. So yeah. So I thought that was, as a group, we came in better shape than that's what the coaches are telling me. So that was our Ladies Owls. The men's basketball, well, I was there. They were excited. They got to the national tournament. They were ranked 7th in the country. Got there.
So close.
Gonna play the game. They were 3 hours or 4 hours from getting the first game into the tournament, and then the tournament got canceled. And a lot of tears by our guys. I was in the gym when the PA guy came on and announced that it was canceling the tournament, and teams were warming up in their warm-up gear. Can you imagine trying to be in the lane and lines, and then they cancel your season? So a lot of tears. It was rough. It was rough. So, but they did well. The rankings. So in basketball, Travis, I don't know if you knew this. There used to be a Division I and a Division II, an NAI Division I and an NAI Division II. They combined those this year, and so there's just one division.
One division.
For basketball.
Wow.
Yeah. And the rankings came out last night for our men's basketball program, and we're ranked 23rd in the country. It's weird. We would have been ranked 6th in the country if it was just NAI Division II, but now there is no such thing as 1 and 2 anymore. It's just one group. And so we've moved to 23. But the other thing was, for the national tournament, you would only get 32 teams into the national tournament for men's and women's. Next year, you're going to get 64 teams. So because there's instead of having 2 tournaments, they're just having one massive tournament, like the Big Dan.
Like D1, yeah, like wow, that's cool.
So being ranked 23rd is a lot different, because it's 64 will get in versus being ranked 23 will only 32 get ranked in, if that makes sense. So
yeah, of course.
As I think you said, I'm able to be an assistant this year, so I've kind of got my eyes on the prize with the guys, and we're going to be pretty good. I like what I see. There's a mature group, and got some good incoming freshmen. I think some freshmen will help us, and and the group that's there now, I mean, they've been there, done that. So we feel pretty confident about them. So
Yeah, no, I love that.
yeah, let's jump to spring sports. Let's go to,
Yes.
what do I think? What's baseball next, I think?
Yes, if I'm not-
Baseball, you heard me say this already. We have a new coach,
Okay.
and so the guys are really working hard. We were able. This is a kind of a behind the scenes thing that people won't realize, but we were able to negotiate a better deal with Kiger Stadium where the guys can get on the field more of the year. We've been kind of handcuffed in years past as to how much we can use that facility. That's one big, that'll really help. The guys can get out there pretty much anytime the weather allows, we can be out there. And that's one big thing. And second thing, we kind of partnered, we partnered with the city a little bit to put some money into some of it's such a dilapidated space that we're going to fix the pigeon. And, if you've been out there, it's a rough place to watch a game. So we're going to really put some TLC into that building.
That's awesome.
That I feel really good about. I think it's going to really like being there. And they're we're going to take some pride in that facility. And baseball is going to have a bigger presence in the community than I think they've had in the past. So it's going to be good.
That's awesome.
It's going to be good.
One of my close friends played on the baseball team too, so I can't wait to. He's an alumni, so I can't wait to tell him that.
Yeah,
they're doing that. I'm sure he'll love that.
Yeah, they're having in baseball they would call it a clubhouse. As a basketball guy, call it a locker room. So tomato, right? So they're going to have a locker room or a clubhouse there that the guys can use. They're going to have their own lockers. So it's just going to be some pride and ownership. And the guys they'll paint, and we're going to get some big Oregon Tech signage out there and just try to make it home and have some ownership and pride for those guys. So that's a big deal. It's kind of behind the scenes, but it's a big deal.
I love hearing it. I didn't even know, so that works.
Yeah. Softball.
And then
softball. We never really got going because of COVID. They had been ranked number 8 in the country. I think was their highest ranking last year. As you know, maybe you know, Travis, all of the spring sports got their years back. So if you were a track, softball, baseball athlete last year, because their season got cut, they are having the ability to get their season back. So we have some really good players that we're going to have for another year. That's the case for baseball and track, I suspect. But I know there's like Sarah, who's pitching on the lower right there. She's going to be able to come back, and so she'll essentially have a whole nother year with us. And so she's kind of our ace pitcher. Just to have your ace pitcher back for another year is a big deal.
Sarah's good, yeah. I personally know her, so I'm sure she is stoked.
She's the real deal, and we've recruited well. So I was talking to Coach Stewart today actually about he's really excited for the year, and it's good. So it's kind of COVID
awesome.
It's changed the game so much and all the nuances of how it goes. So anyway, that's our softball, and then track where you're at. We're plugging along. Travis, maybe I should have you talk about this, but we've got we got Hunter, our javelin thrower who won the national championship, is back.
Mm-hmm.
I know our long distance guys and girls are going to carry that over to running the long distances and do really well in our track program. What do you think about track?
To be honest, so I stayed in contact with a couple of my teammates. So Angel Valdez and then Joey, I forgot his last name, but they were both on the 4x4 record team. So I'm excited to see what those guys get to do. Hunter's back for the jav and vault, like you mentioned, and the cross guys. I know were pretty young when I was leaving, but I'm sure and I know they were definitely coming into their full, just athleticness towards the end of last year. So I'm excited just to see what ends up happening. It could be another fun year. Hopefully they make a run for the conference title again.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Yeah. So that kind of sums up our sports and our update on what we did last year and kind of what we got going on this year. So it's good. Everything's very bright. Good mojo around the building, and the athletes are excited. Athletes are excited to be back as the coaches. Just we don't take things for granted anymore. And just the fact that we can get out and compete, and well, compete to the level that our sport specific allows us to compete. But the fact that we can just get out of isolation and be here as a group is very exciting for everybody. So
Yeah, I was just a quick. I was coaching at Henley this past spring for track, and we were a week away from having our first track meet, and then everything shut. I heard the basketball news, and it's just like you said, it was tears. It was brutal. It was brutal. So, I mean, the next question I was going to ask was about just how they stayed in shape, but we kind of touched on that already. With if they want to stay home and just eat, then they could, but they probably were actually out running. Luckily in Klamath, it's not snowing right now, so you can actually go outside.
Coaches did a really nice job of, it was hard. I mean, we had the whole spring, and the coaches, like everybody, we learned Zoom. So there were all these Zoom meetings with the teams, and we gave them things to work out. I know our volleyball coach did the workouts over Zoom with the team. And I know that, like our men's basketball coach, he would do a Zoom where they did their push-ups and whatever they were doing with the phone. They were doing it right there, and they were doing it as a team in their own houses. You get creative.
That's crazy.
You have to get creative. So, and the coaches did a real nice job of holding the athletes accountable. So it was good.
That's awesome.
Control what you can control, right?
That's all you can do sometimes. That's for sure. I've experienced that. And then for our next question, I've actually attended this past about 2 weeks ago. I attended the Alumni Advisory Board, and we actually got an awesome tour of the new gymnasium and new tech rec. Yeah. And I just wanted to see if you could walk us through. And I know we have a video that we're going to be showing, and if you could just say what's going on.
I can do.
By the way, it was awesome too.
Yeah. Well, that's the tunnel entry. So this is going to go fast. So that's the entry where you slide your card, where you come in. There's two different entry points that we have. That's the back side of where obviously you slide in. And here we go. Here's the gym. And you're looking across the gym to the weight room. I think there'll be some other shots of that. To your left right there are the day use locker rooms. And this is where the swimming pool used to be. So if anyone's watching, they'll go, that's exactly the size of the swimming pool. And they put what's called slurry in there to fill up the swimming pool. Crazy. And then in the back, there's the cardio spaces. I think we'll see some other pictures of that, but it's going to be good.
Awesome.
Here's the cardio looking out. You can see we've shut down every other machine right now for COVID. Very COVID tight responsibilities. Everyone wears a mask all the time in there. So what's not shown in here, Travis, is we're going to have 4 TVs, big old TVs, and in the sound system. They're here. We just haven't had a chance to put them in yet. Yeah. So here's the weight room, and we're going to have a couple more pieces of equipment that still have to arrive that aren't in yet. Really good. Yeah. So it's great.
I know we're going to love the TVs.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a game changer. You know what the old weight room is like. I mean, can you imagine the difference between these two?
I wish, I don't know in the video if it's going to show the mirror room. The new, that's
the yoga room.
The yoga room.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. I love the openness. It has way more space. You don't have to wait for as many athletes to switch out of machines.
Yeah. Right here. Here's the yoga room. So we're going to have a TV in here. That's a smart TV that people can put in, and you'll see spin bikes here in a second, that you can do a spin class right off the TV, or any kind of stretching or yoga or an aerobic workout. We can do that. You don't even have to have an instructor. You can go in there and do it.
That's perfect.
So it's great. And the architects did a nice job. They kind of left it the old warehouse look on top. And we're not done with, here's the day use lockers. We have some more signage that'll go in there and things. We kind of did it in phases. So I
must say.
Yeah. So shower.
I was gonna say,
yeah. This is our new foyer. That was part of the project. You're looking at the wall we did. So we have some old articles that were real articles, and we have all of our national champions are on that wall. So like Hunter's on that wall, and anybody who's won a national championship in a track or a cross is on that wall, and then our basketball and softball people are on that wall. And then
And where's that wall at?
that's when you
I don't
walk
think
in, like you're coming in the gym, it's on your left.
Oh,
Like,
okay. I haven't
the foyer.
seen that one yet then.
Yeah, so that just came up a week ago. So, and on the right, so if you picture yourself coming through the lobby, opening the door, and then straight ahead of you to the right will be new trophy cases.
Okay.
And we've started a Hall of Fame, so we're going to have a Hall of Fame place as well as all the trophy cases. And then to the left was the wall that you just saw.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's to the left. If you were to walk in, that'd be on your left.
That's really nice.
But it's good. I mean, we have the actual articles that were in the Herald News that are up on the wall now when we won, and it's cool. It's a Josh Wessler
cool.
did that. Our marketing guy put that together, and it's going to be a
love
great
that.
upgrade. Yeah, it's
I
nice.
think that's really cool. Oh, that's great. Thank you for the tour. I personally enjoyed it when I went there. It made me want to be another athlete and just be able to train for a season, because it will make a complete difference with all of the work and athletic equipment there. And then to move on to our next question is, what would you say in the future, what are any projects that are coming up that are athletic specific or any athletes can benefit from?
Well, we did some upgrades in the Danny Miles court. We had LED lights that we did a fundraiser because it was really dark in there, and the lights would take forever to turn on and off. We did a remodel of the concession stand. Well, there you go. So in that place, we did a remodel of the concession stand, doubled the size. So now at halftime of basketball games, people don't have to line up all the way to half court to get popcorn. By the way, in the foyer, we remodeled the bathrooms down here. I know that the women's restroom, we had a long line during basketball games. That's fixed. We have lots of space now. So there's some real game changers. So that's Danny Miles Court. In the softball stadium, in John and Lois Stillwell Stadium, we've added lights. So I guess you can see it in the lower right there. We finished it off. The place has been landscaping. The game changer for the lights, though, now allows us to host an NAIA championship. So without having lights, you can't host anything. So knock on wood, and I think it's pretty sooner than later, we're going to be good enough to put in a bid to host and have teams come here for a national
That'll be awesome.
Yeah, so it's community will love it. That thing. I can't think of a better, at least in the NAIA, there isn't a better stadium in the country. When you consider the view, we didn't cut corners. There were no corners cut in terms of going cheap. The way it turned out, signage, the press box has got heat in it, which is really important for our sports information director.
That's will be good for the snow.
Yeah, so it's really good. It's really good.
That's awesome.
So what else?
Okay.
Bleachers, I think, yeah. I think we do graduation up there, and those fiberglass would sit in your rear end, and they were brutal. So these will not poke you or make you itch. So that's a game changer too. So
I appreciate those.
Yeah. So that's a big deal. So anyway,
all right.
I think that's the facilities upgrades we've had.
I personally love those upgrades. For the bleachers point, we had to run stairs on them, and they were like not metal, fiberglass, and just the wood steps. And sometimes you'll be a little scared if you'll hit it too hard, if you'll go through
your hand. And they're bad. Yeah, they're bad.
My mom definitely said so for graduation. Yeah. Well, she brought a little thing, but she was like, "Yeah, those bleachers are kind of painful." But I told her to change, so yeah, I'm happy now. And then for the next question, is that for I know we have alum events or annual events that are hosted during the fall, and do you know due to COVID-19, will they be rescheduled for any time this coming up school year?
Yes.
Later in the school.
Let me backtrack a little bit. I think one of the things I think people might be wondering about is what has COVID done to sports for athletics?
That is right.
And so we kind of hit on that for a second. So our fall sports are not happening right now. We're practicing, but we can't play our fall sports. So for instance, volleyball, they've moved that to our first home match. At least conference will be January 23rd. I mean, who does volleyball in January? It's weird. Soccer, our first conference matches will be middle of February, like February 14th. So
Wow.
imagine being a soccer player in Klamath Falls and having to practice in January and February.
Oof.
Last year we bought a snow removal for the turf. So I think we're going to be using it. It's like goes on a tractor, and it's something that NFL teams have, where it has a little nose plow thing, and
And
yeah.
it picks it up. Okay.
Well, it
That's
just
cool.
moves it. I think it
Moves it out.
Yeah, we
Okay.
got it. You know, we did some research. I think like Pittsburgh Steelers used this one or something, and so we were out there 2 winters ago shoveling, trying to get it ready for a softball game because there was a foot of snow on the turf. So we've tried to figure that one out. So that, and then cross country. So cross country and golf are considered non-contact sports for obvious reasons. And so the Oregon Health Authority is who athletics across the state have to adhere to. They sort of set the rules. And they've said that non-contact sports, golf and cross country, can host an event or go to an event in November. So both our cross country team, I think they're going to go to 2 of them in November, and our golf is going to have 1 match in November, and then they'll jump over to spring. Cross country is going to, every year, teams in our conference have to host the conference championship in order. So every 12 years we have to host. Well, our number's up this year. So in March 26th, we're hosting the conference cross country championships out at the Running Y. So both teams will be out there. So that's going to be a big deal. Be a great community event. I think we can COVID space, socially distance space, around 3 or 4 miles worth of track or running area. So that's going to be a nice big deal for our local athletes to run in front of their hometown, in front of the crowd. So that's good. So crossing that, and then basketball is considered a contact sport, and not technically, we're not allowed to play right now. We are allowed to do anything we can do without contact. So for instance, shooting, conditioning, 5-on-0. We can't do a blockout drill. We can't do you're working on post defense or working on anything that creates contact. We cannot do it. And right now we have a schedule that's out, but it has not been approved yet by OHA. So we keep getting questions about, can fans come to games? And we don't even know if we're having a season until they approve it. And so we have a conference has put in what's called a return to play. So we have submitted to OHA a plan where our athletes will get tested at least once a week, possibly twice a week, through a saliva test that's already been, it's a great deal. It's already been approved. So if that goes through, we'll spit into the vial and then ship it out overnight, and then they'll tell us immediately if anyone has COVID. So that's really great game breaker for us. We can't really compete until we know if anyone has it on a contact sport. So we'll be testing basketball if the OHA approves it, and so that's kind of interesting. And then soccer and volleyball like I said, will start later in the spring. Right now, we haven't touched spring sports in terms of scheduling. So track and field, softball, baseball, those schedules are full on, but we have taken away all non-league games except for 1 or 2, depending on the sport, for basketball and soccer and volleyball. So instead of, for instance, for basketball, instead of playing 32 games this year or 30 games, we're only allowed to play 20.
Okay.
So, and then even then, we don't know if they're going to approve it. There's a chance that they may move our start of our season to January. Hope not, but that's on the table right now too. So we're really in a holding pattern until the Oregon Health Authority communicates that with us. They've been crickets. They've been really silent with every school but the Pac-12 schools. Even Portland State had submitted a return to play. They haven't heard. University of Portland has tried to get going. They haven't heard back from them. And so it's all the D3s in Oregon and as well as the NAIs. And so there's a whole bunch of people anxiously waiting for the Oregon Health Authority to tell us what the threshold is for us to come back.
And it's basically waiting. It's just they hold the pen. If they
do.
sign it, then
The governor, they report the governor. And, you know, I was talking to our commissioner today. He doesn't think it's just them being a jerk and saying, forget you guys, you can't play. He just thinks it's overload, that the people that have to make the decisions, they have so many things on their desk that this isn't a priority. So that's really unfortunate. So I think there's some presidents of schools in our conference that are making some calls to Salem to try to get the priority up a little bit. Yeah. So
okay, that's cool.
yeah. So right now basketball's on hold, but volleyball and soccer can go. So those don't need approval from the OHA because they're not considered contact sports.
Contact.
Which would also be rugby and football, which we
I was just about.
yeah. So if we had football, they'd be in the same boat. But so
must make defense practice quite interesting.
Can't, you can't. We were working on defensive slides, against nobody. We were working on different things against nobody, and the poor guys are running around with their masks on, and it's tough.
Oh, they do have to wear one?
Oh yeah, you have to wear a mask, and I have plenty of props to all of our student athletes for, one, being good soldiers and following the rules, and two, being able to work through the difficulties of trying to run while you have a mask on. Yeah,
I couldn't.
Yeah, so they've been really, attitudes have been great across the board. So they're really good about it, and so anyway, that's just sort of the COVID update. It may change tomorrow, but that's what it is right now.
And then just day by day, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Whenever you hear is when we'll move forward, or when you'll move forward.
I know hopefully there's a lot of people that want to come to basketball games in the community, and we'll put an announcement out once we know. But we're just in a holding pattern. We put out a press release today for season ticket holders for basketball, basically saying that you'll be the first to know what we're allowed to do and when we're allowed to do it. So hang tight and appreciate your patience.
Maybe I don't know if you saw the finals games, how they video recorded people in or live. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. We're gonna try to. Here's a little hidden secret within the athletic department. We're gonna probably put our basketball games for free on YouTube this year, because when people stream them, they stream them through another service, and it really goes to their laptop. But if you have a TV, you have a smart TV, you can get YouTube, right? And so we're trying to get people to stop watching basketball games on their computer and start watching them on their TV. And then that gives us an opportunity for sales to go out and try to sell advertising, because if people aren't coming to the gym, we still got to get eyes on the prize, right? And to get people watching games so that we can, because we have a sales budget that we have to hit. It's part of a built into our budget. And so anyway, long story short, we're trying to be creative and be cup half full, be as positive as we can.
I love it. I think that's a great idea, and I'll definitely tune in.
Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good.
That was a really great segue to a participant question. They mentioned that I think it's Major League Baseball is selling cutouts of people to put in the stands.
Yeah.
And they said, would Oregon Tech consider doing something like that?
Yeah, something came across my desk from Michigan. It was a company that was working with Michigan State, so it was a college one. And if you're a season ticket holder for this amount of price, take a picture, send it in, and we'll make up a large and put you in the stands.
Right.
So we've thought about it.
Something to consider.
Yeah.
Sounds like there might be some interest out there.
Yeah.
And John, I know a lot of people attend the blue and gold auction in the fall traditionally. What is happening with those events?
We are not canceling them. We would like to say we're postponing them until spring, where we feel we can have it in person. We've talked about having a virtual auction, blue and gold auction, but I just think we would rather see if we can get it done in the spring in real time with real people. And if we can't at that point, then we may adjust. But right now we're holding out that we can have it live.
No.
You'd like to be in person, and hopefully we will have some kind of vaccine, or it will be reduced.
Yeah.
The spreading will be reduced by the spring to where we can host in-person events again.
That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. And is that the same for like the golf tournament and those kinds of things?
Yeah,
or?
we probably could have run the golf tournament because it's outside and golf is quote unquote legal right now. But the unknown of it all, we don't hold me to this, but I think we're going to try to do the blue and gold auction on a Friday, and then the next day would be the golf tournament on a Saturday. So if people were coming to town, they could do both, and we'll kind of put those together and see how that works.
Oh, okay. That's a good idea. Be strategic there with people's travel plans.
Yeah.
Smart.
And then Travis, we actually had a question that came in for you. Daiquiri Roberts is wondering how somebody could get involved with your mentoring and coaching program.
To be honest, the mentoring and coaching program just started. It'll be fully accessible with everything uploaded to the website this coming Monday. But for anyone who would want to look into that or contact me, they can just go on Google and just type in fightforthedream.com, and that will take them to my website, and it will have my phone number, my email, the services that I provide, and just a little bit of background about myself. I'm also, and as I said, I'm in the process of redesigning the entire website. So some things are not quite there yet, but everything will be up to date this coming up Monday. But I'm always open to take information or phone calls or emails.
Okay, so that's fightforthedream.com.
Yes, fightforthedream.com. And then my email is fightfortd@gmail.com.
Oh, okay. Fightfortd, thedream.com. Okay, at gmail.com. Okay.
At Gmail. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there we go.
And,
very good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, this has been such an enlightening program. It's been so good to hear from you. Are there any last minute things that you would like people to know about athletics, John, before we transition to the rapid fire questions?
Not really, other than the fact that people need to know we're practicing to prepare. I mean, do we have a game tomorrow? No, but are we getting in shape and we doing the due diligence to prepare for when the time comes? Yes.
Right.
So everyone is, and also I'm really proud of our student athletes for taking responsibility in the COVID of social distancing. You know, they're college students and they want to have a good time, but we've really had some heart-to-hearts with the teams about choices and what choice and the consequences of choices. And so I'm really, really proud of the group as a whole of how we're doing.
I'm always so impressed by Oregon Tech students and Oregon Tech student athletes in particular because of the rigorous academics. I know that Oregon Tech, all Oregon Tech students have to accomplish in order to graduate, but then the student athletes, you know, have on top of that their training and their games and their seasons. So I'm just incredibly impressed by Oregon Tech student athletes. So thank you for your leadership on that, John. And then thank you, Travis, for going through it, for persevering.
It was a journey, but just like you said, athletes have a lot on their plates, especially going to OIT. And I've known athletes every degree field, and they really go through it sometimes. And on the bus, they are just like the cross country team. I've never seen a team work so hard. Hear some of the most, yeah. So it was a great time. But I can move on to the 5 rapid fire questions.
Yeah, let's do the rapid fire questions.
Been waiting for these. Right.
All right. So I switched one. That's number 2. But for the first one,
I don't know what you're talking about. What question?
what is What is one thing that makes you smile?
One thing that makes me smile, my wife.
I hear that. I can't hate on that. What is your favorite winter activity?
Well, you know, Travis, I'm a basketball coach at heart. So if I didn't say basketball being in the winter, I would probably, I'm not going skiing, I'll put it that way. So it would be my favorite winter basketball.
No,
is
no
basketball.
snowboarding.
No snowboarding. I have, my
Okay,
rule
okay,
of
that's
thumb,
right.
my
No
rule of thumb, if
snowboarding.
it makes me cold, I don't like it. That's kind of the standard for me.
Coming from California, I'm the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah.
And then for the next one is if you could have lunch with anyone in the world, living or not, who would it be?
There'd be so many, man. I don't know where to begin. I've read about 4 or 5 books about Abraham Lincoln and just his leadership style. So he'd be one that jumps to mind first.
It's a great person. I would love to
Yeah.
meet him too. And then number 4 would be, what is your favorite movie? I'm curious.
That's an impossible question. You know, you got to give me a genre, right? Because
Action.
Western sports, action.
Action.
What's the one with there's John Wick.
That was great.
John Wick 3. I'm still waiting to see it. It's not out. Oh yeah. Okay.
I'll say watch it if you have time. I know it's not too bad.
I mean, just pure action. It's John Wick, I think, right now.
100%. And then for the last one is, what's your favorite college team for athletics?
Oregon
That's
Tech.
fair. That's right. That's right. I love to hear it. That's right.
Every team we have is my favorite. Every Oregon Tech team is my favorite team.
I wish we had a football team. That would be amazing.
I get that a lot. Believe me, I get that.
Do you?
Yeah. I get that.
I understand, but no. But yeah, it was a great time talking, and I love getting to actually have a conversation.
You know, Travis, I'll tell you this. Today I was talking to a couple of the coaches about that I was going to be talking to you tonight, and they unsolicited said, "What a great dad you are." I've heard that a dozen times in the last 2 weeks. So shout out to you on that one.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Shout out to you on that one.
do.
So, anyway.
I appreciate it.
Well, thank you
Was
both.
it without OIT?
Thank you both so
I was
much.
just going to say, go ahead.
Go ahead, Travis. Go ahead.
I was going to say without some of the great people I met at OIT, coaches, staff, and just people that I met there, it really helped my path in being a dad, because actually I started to take full responsibility in my daughter half of my first year at OIT. So everyone really helped out. So I really appreciate the whole community and everything.
You have a great reputation around the department. So
Thank you.
Well, I know that Zanaya is one of your biggest fans, and I know you are one of her biggest fans. So it's a pleasure to see the photo of the two of you. And single dad, track star athlete, college graduate, fantastic Oregon Tech alum. Thank you, Travis, for leading this conversation. And thank you, Coach VanDyke, for being here and leading the athletics program at Oregon Tech, which are just top notch and so fantastic. So really appreciate the insider's look at the new tech rec. And thank you for being here with us this evening and being a part of this conversation. And I hope you will continue to join us every third Thursday at 5:30 throughout the academic year. Next month, we will have Dean Tom Kaiser for the College of Engineering, Technology, and Management. And then we will also be hosting an estate planning lunch and learn next week on Wednesday. Bring your brown bag lunch and join us, learn a little bit about how important it is to have an estate plan. And that's for all ages. So Travis, you can join us as well. It's open to faculty and staff. It's open to alumni. and our friends and supporters. So all are invited. It should be quite educational, and we hope you can join us. And to register for any of these events, you can always go to alumni.oit.edu. And for all things Oregon Tech, you can always go online to www.oit.edu. And thank you so much for being Oregon Tech together. Go Owls!